This section covers the movement cycle, which gives a structure enabling you to break down and analyse badminton movement, the individual components of badminton movement, typical badminton movement patterns. Therefore, on this video clip, the near side player performs a movement cycle between this stroke and this stroke. The movement cycle can be separated into 4 distinct phases. The start phase, where players move off in a response to their opponent's stroke. The approach phase, where the player moves towards the shuttle. The hitting phase, where the player has to perform a specific body movement whilst they are striking the shuttle. The recovery phase, where the player moves back to prepare for their opponent's next stroke. The next sections will give examples of the components of movement used in the start, approach, hitting and recovery phases of the movement cycle. Then give examples of movement patterns to specific areas of the court. In order to move off explosively in response to an opponent's stroke, players use a split step. This is a widening of the base and bending of the knees, time to land on the ground with or just after your opponent's stroke. Watch the near side player, who will perform a split step each time his opponent strikes the shuttle. There are, broadly speaking, 3 types of split step: right leg forwards, left leg forwards, side by side. No one split step will cover all areas of the court equally, but with experience, players learn to read situations and choose the most appropriate split step for each situation. Having used a split step to start off in response to an opponent's stroke, the player can then choose a number of footwork methods to travel towards the shuttle. Examples include running steps, both backwards and forwards, chassé steps, where one foot moves to just behind the other, crossing behind, usually to the forehand side of the player, pivoting and hopping, often towards the backhand side and when moving to play around the head. Movements associated with the hitting phase include lunging towards the forecourt, sideways, often in the midcourt, towards the rear court. Jumping skills are also demonstrated during the hitting phase. There are many different types of jump, involving various combinations of 1- and 2-footed takeoffs and landings. But 2 key types of jumps are jumping out, which is used a great deal in the forehand rear court, jumping and turning in the air, which is used a lot in the centre of the rear court and round the head. After striking the shuttle, players need to recover back to a base where they can cover their opponent's next stroke. The techniques used in recovery are basically the same as those used when approaching the shuttle, including pivoting, chassé, running steps. The main patterns of movement to the forehand forecourt are shown in this section. Please note, however, that other variations exist, depending upon individual habits and the tactical situation in the rally. Split step, chassé, lunge, running steps. Split step, cross behind, lunge, running steps. Split step, running step, lunge, running steps. The main patterns of movement to the backhand forecourt are shown in this section. Please note, however, that other variations exist, dependent upon individual preferences and the tactical situation in the rally. Split step, chassé, lunge, running step. Split step, pivot, lunge, running steps. The main patterns of movement in the forehand rear court are shown in this section. Please note, however, that other variations exist, dependent upon individual preferences and the tactical situation in the rally. Split step, cross behind, lunge, chassé. Split step, chassé, jump out, chassé. Split step, chassé, jump and kick through, running steps. The main patterns of movement to the backhand rear court are shown in this section. Please note, however, that other variations exist, dependent upon individual preferences and the tactical situation in the rally. Split step, pivot, jump and kick through, chassé. Split step, chassé, pivot, lunge, pivot, chassé. Split step, running steps, jump and kick through, running steps.